Okay, just got finished watching a very interesting episode of Blue Eye Samurai. This is episode 3 of season 1. Spoiler alert. It started where episode 2 ended, of course, with Taigen standing over Misu, looking like he's going to kill him. We all know he's not. But Ringo came running when he saw the scene and protected Misu, who was passed out from all the blood loss from the fight against the Four Fangs. Ringo, sorry with these names, I'm terrible. Ringo ended up carrying Misu to a shrine, I think it was, that was recommended by Taigen. Taigen wants to keep Misu safe and healthy for their duel. Playing overhead, I apologize. Taigen wants to keep Misu alive and healthy for their duel, so he helped Ringo, and Ringo went about creating medicine for Misu and trying to nurse her back to health while keeping the secret, of course, that Misu's a woman. Misu was having some flashbacks to her childhood, and kind of got a glimpse of what happened. I guess Misu's mom was keeping her hidden in this hut, and she was forbidden from going outside because they were like, if they know you're here, they'll kill you. The white men, or just people in general. I can't remember if it was white men in particular, but at some point, Misu goes outside and is seen, and then they show the hut get burnt down. And I don't know if the mother died in the hut or not. But anyway, that was the gist of that. They actually went back before Misu would have remembered. And again, this is my first foray into this type of animation. This, and of course, watching Vinland Saga before. They show this horrific scene of someone who's getting ready to kill Misu as a baby. And there's two people there. And one of them's like, you do it. And the person's going to do it. And they're like, I can't. And then the other person comes and says, I'll do it. And as he's getting ready to kill the baby, and looks like he was about to do it, the other person stops him. The next thing you see is blood splatter all over the baby's face. Something you don't see again in, well, at least what I watch. I realize I don't watch a whole lot of violent shows, so maybe American shows do show people getting killed and blood splattering all over babies' faces. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. It was a little shocking. Anyway, the person that obviously killed the other person who was going to kill Misu, and then gave Misu to the mom and said, take her and go. So that was that. Man, some of the stuff that you see. And again, Blue Eye Samurai is not officially anime, but it's definitely in that style. And the Japanese culture being involved as well, kind of, you kind of can group them together to an extent. Anyway, Misu and Taigen offers Misu this contract for 3 days, saying that 3 days out, saying in 3 days when you get healed up, we can have the duel and I'll kill you. This is so out of Vinland Saga with Askeladd and Thorfinn. Thorfinn wanting to have a duel with Askeladd. This is exactly the same thing. Makes me again wonder if this is just a common trope in anime or anime style shows. Anyway, they kind of get into this tussle because Taigen wants Misu to be healthy, and Misu's like, I can beat you with anything. I can beat you with a spear, with a rock. And then Misu goes and gets these chopsticks and throws one at Taigen, which he has to catch. Looks like he's about to pierce him in the face. I don't know how much damage it would have done, but it was impressive. It was an impressive throw. Anyway, they get into a duel, semi-duel with chopsticks. And while they're fighting with the chopsticks and with their hands or whatever wrestling around. Misu's getting the upper hand for the most part, but Taigen has some places where he gets the upper hand. And he is telling Misu stories about how when they were kids, they would talk about the monster in the hut or whatever. And they were talking about we would dare each other to go touch the door where you were. And, they, because they grew up in the same village, obviously. And, Misu's getting angry listening to him, and they're talking. He's talking about his her whore mother, and I mean, it's they're going at it. It makes me want to research this, how accurate this was, this despising this blue-eyed child, and this disgust or disdain over this mixed breed child. I had no idea things like that were going on in Japan at any time. But it makes me wonder, how accurate this is and how terrible it was for somebody who was mixed breed. So anyway, Misu kind of wins the duel a little, sort of, and again the contract happens, and they're gonna, and Taigen actually writes this contract out for them to sign or whatever. So then they go on. As they're going, they are met by someone, this big, burly mountain looks like the mountain from Game of Thrones, big, huge guy. And he is sent by Haji Shindo with an offer to come have tea. And of course, Taigen believes it's a setup. I believe it's a setup. Misu doesn't care. Misu says, revenge doesn't hesitate. If Haji Shindo is that way, then that's where Misu wants to go. So she goes there. She's continually treated as this journey is going on by my guy, Ringo. I need a chart or something with these names on them. But anyway, and they go and they go down this tunnel, and then they're thinking that something's about to happen. They're worried that they're about to be ambushed, and sure enough, it's just tea. So they go, they have tea, and Ringo stays back and is kind of, I guess, guarded by the other guy, the big mountain-looking dude. So they go have tea with Haji Shindo, and Haji Shindo offers Misu 50,000 of something. There's a lot of gold. Ryos, I think they were called, RYO. I think that's what it was, Ryo. And a lordship in this place. But this was interesting. He told her, you have to swear to me you won't do anything to me or the person you're coming after. The person that Misu is coming after, his name is Abijah Fowler. And this is the white person that she's coming after. And Haji Shindo is like, you have to promise that you're not going to harm us. And the promise is, basically, you seal it by cutting off your right thumb. And Haji Shindo is like, it's not a big deal. And he comes out with his box of 9 thumbs. Slot for a 10th. He's like, it's a lot of lords who wear long sleeves for a reason. But basically, Miso says no. And she's like, she wants Fowler. So then the second offer is made. Haji Shindo tells her how to get to Fowler, and basically he'll provide the way. And it's in a cask, in a sake barrel. She has to get into this barrel, and he's like, I'll promise you my protection. I'll guarantee your life up until you're about to kill Abijah Fowler. Because Taigen's like, well, how are you going to get out? And Haji Shindo's like, good luck. I'm going to get you there. And once you kill him, that's on you. It's up to you how you get out. And he's basically like, you can take that offer, or I have 500 archers around the mountains waiting to, fire on you. So Haji Shindo is basically like, get in this barrel, ordering Misu into the barrel. Misu chops Haji Shindo's arm off, Star Wars style. I mean, whoop, whoop, and that's it. And Haji Shindo runs off, and then the archers. And they, for a second, Taigen and Miso were like they were faking about the archers, but they were actually archers. So the shots come, they fire them up, and it looks like about 500. And they protect themselves. They have this big, huge shield they're carrying, and they're walking away. And they get as far as they can. Taigen gets hit in the leg, by one of the arrows, but they did pretty good. 3 or 4 rounds of 500 arrows apiece, and they only got 1 hit. But then it got to a point where they were basically trapped. Meanwhile, Ringo is with the mountain person, and the mountain person sees that the archers are doing their thing, and he's like, not good. So he gets up and he comes to attack Ringo. The next thing you see is, now Ringo had cooked for this mountain person. So so the mountain person gets up and he starts throwing up, and then Ringo kicks him over this mountain, presumably to his death. Before in the episode they had showed Ringo cooking, and there was a mushroom that that Taigen was about to eat, and Ringo was like, "You don't want to eat that. That's a snowcap. One bite and you'll get really, really sick, and the second bite you'll die." So Ringo kicked the dude over the mountain and then said, "Snowcap," and then took off. So clearly he knew something was going on, so he poisoned the guy. So then Ringo comes back and has some kind of, I don't know if it looks like a person almost, but some kind of a shield on a horse, and it comes back for Taigen and Miso. It allows them to ride on the side, kind of hanging off the side, but they're shielded, so everybody's protected from the arrows until, they get free of everything. And it's funny because Miso looks up at Ringo and says, "Useful," because that's the whole thing, that Ringo is a useful person, and he is proving to be very useful in this series. So very entertaining. Anyway, they get away, and they, she knows how to get to Abijah Fowler now, one of the white people. And it was funny because when she was talking to Haji Shindo asked, "Why are you going after this guy?" It's like and Miso says there are 3 white men. There are 3 white men in this city, in Japan, who were here when I was born, and I'm going to kill them. Haji Shindo says there were 4 white men in the city in Japan when you were born, and then Miso says there were 4. So apparently Miso's actually killed one of them, and that was the first time that's come up. So this is number 2 on the list, Abijah Fowler. And Abijah Fowler's pretty tough. In the beginning of the show, Abijah Fowler and Haji Shindo were the ones that sent the 4 fangs after Miso, and it was reported back that the 4 fangs were dead, and Abijah Fowler got angry, and the messenger just banged his face into something. It looked like he killed him. Blood everywhere, of course, because, that's what they do. And but anyway, so now, Haji Shindo goes back and reports to Abijah Fowler that this person's coming for you. Dead eyes, demon, it will not stop until you're dead, So anyway, going back, Taigen and Miso are talking, and Miso is like, "It's a shame that our duel's in a day, because then you get the chance to go and try to, take out Abijah Fowler." Next thing you know, Miso pops him in the back of the head, knocks him out, and leaves him. When he wakes up, there's a letter from Miso saying, "We'll do our duel later on in another season when I'm fully healed, because you deserve that." Meanwhile, Miso left the broken blade for him. I'm trying to rush through this because I don't want this to be too long. So the broken blade that Miso's master made, that the 4 fang guy had, that Miso killed, she gave that to Taigen, and promised a duel later on when she was fully healed, showing a lot of respect, saying, you deserve to be with somebody who you respect. Anyway, that's their story. The other story is Akemi. They end up with a lot of misadventures, losing a lot of money, getting tricked, and as they're trying to travel she's trying to travel to find Taigen, and she has a whole plan. She's going to find Taigen, help Taigen to find the person that Taigen wants to kill, which is Miso. Has no idea that Taigen's already found Miso. And then they're going to go back, and with his honor restored, her father will let him marry. Her father will let her marry Taigen. That's her plan. Seki is basically like, you're losing your mind. You're a woman. you only have so many paths. You need to go ahead and go back. And after they have so many misadventures and their money is gone, she's like, I wish I can go home. And Seki brings out a little bit of money that he had stowed away and been like, hey, you can go home with this. And she's like, you knew I would give up. And he's again like, I raised you. I know you. And you need to accept the path set before you. It reveals that he is the one who set the marriage up for her that she's running from the Shogun guy in Edo. So she gets angry with him because he's basically like, you can be this guy's wife or you can be a whore. Those are only choices. And she's like, I'm basically a whore if I'm that guy's wife. And he goes, ask the people in this brothel right here I guess they were near a brothel. So ask the people in this brothel right here if there's a choice, if there's a difference. So she goes into the brothel and then she starts pretending she's a whore. She basically is taking another path. Tells Seki, you never believed in me. So she's basically taking it in her own hands. And there's a guy in the brothel, basically their version of a pimp, that wants to help her because he's like, oh my God, you're perfect. You're like a princess. I can get so much money from you. You can make so much money. And he starts to take her to the city that she wanted to go to, where she felt like she could find Taigen. So their story ends with her going into this city with this guy and leaving Seki. So interesting to see where that goes. I mean, she already had sex once with Taigen. Who knows how far she's willing to go to get what she wants. I don't know if she feels like she's going to condom when she gets there, or if she's going to go through with being a prostitute. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where her story goes. But Seki was trying to protect her as best he could within the mores of their society. And she's basically like, she's basically like taking her life into her own hands, which is admirable, but in that situation, interesting to see how it's going to go. I don't want to say questionable, but I don't know. It might not be too much better being a whore than being a wife of a person you don't want to be with. I don't know. Never been in that situation, so be interested to see. Anyway, this has been a way long review of episode 3. Hopefully episode 4 won't be as long.